Even the tiniest tot in Tampa Town knew what a victory over the Chicago Bears last week would mean. An NFC Central Division crown and a berth in the playoffs. But the Bears, fighting to make the playoffs themselves, were not very cooperative. Chicago only scored 14 points, but it was more than enough because of a great defensive performance. Here, number 45, safety Gary Fensick sheds one Buccaneer blocker, then pushes another into the path of the ball carrier, shutting down the play. The Bear defense logged 3 quarterback sacks and stole 5 passes for interceptions, including 2 by Fensick, to sew up a 14-0 win. The victory keeps the Bears alive for postseason play, even though Tampa Bay still leads the division. But twice now, the Bucs have had the chance to clinch the Central title in successive weeks. Twice they have come up short. But barring total collapse, they will probably still achieve their goal. A division title was also what was expected from the New England Patriots. And at the outset of their game with Miami last week, they appeared to be on the right track. Patriot quarterback Steve Grogan threw touchdown passes to Harold Jackson and Stanley Morgan to take the halftime lead. But in the third period, the Dolphins inserted the recently benched Bob Griese at quarterback. Griese's fluctuating fortunes in 1979 had prompted some observers to announce that the 13-year veteran was through. Such was not the case against New England. Griese led an explosive second-half charge that put 26 points on the board as the Dolphins romped 39-24. Miami is now in first place in the AFC East, and the Patriots, facing elimination from the playoffs, are asking themselves, how can a team with this much talent be on the verge of postseason extinction? The Denver Broncos aren't pondering such heavy issues since they are still in contention in the AFC West. But last week in icy Buffalo, there were a few jolts before victory could be claimed. One such reminder of mortality came on number 22, Steve Freeman's interception return for a touchdown. But the Bronco defense answered with a big play of its own, a fumble recovery for a score. First All-World inside linebacker Randy Gradishar, number 53, recovered the fumble. He then realized that a man with better foot speed, number 20, Louis Wright, was nearby. The eventual transfer was easier than a bank transaction and just as profitable. Along with the 86-yard play was a Craig Morton to Haven Moses touchdown bomb and a last-minute field goal. Amidst the frozen tundra that has become a Buffalo trademark, the Broncos still felt a warm glow after a somewhat chilling 19-16 win. Things were much warmer in sunny San Diego as the underdog Falcons were putting some heat on the front-running Chargers. Atlanta quarterback Steve Bartkowski passed easily on the Chargers. The Falcons led for most of the game, despite another 300-plus yard passing day for San Diego's Dan Fouts, who directed 3 Charger touchdown drives. San Diego led 26-21 with 2 minutes to go, but in the form reminiscent of last year's comeback kids, Bartkowski and the Falcons marched quickly for the winning score. With 21 seconds left to play, number 89 Wallace Francis hauled in his second touchdown reception on the day to gain the victory. Atlanta's 28-26 upset may have salvaged a disappointing season at the expense of the Chargers, who had expected little trouble. Nevertheless, San Diego now finds themselves tied with Denver for first place in the AFC West. A popular television commercial once said, "It's not nice to fool Mother Nature." In football, it's not too smart to embarrass the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that's just what the Cincinnati Bengals did earlier this season. Last Sunday, the Bengals suffered the consequences. Pittsburgh's tenacious defenders have long memories. From the four corners of the gridiron they came, each bearing his own personal grudge. Cincinnati's isolated successes came on two Ken Anderson passes to elusive wide receiver Isaac Curtis. Pittsburgh's aura of invincibility has been challenged of late, and at moments such as this, the world champions appear very vulnerable, while even muscular All-Pro center Mike Webster suffers an occasional mental lapse. But when those brawny arms put the ball in play, the Steelers atone for their sporadic blackouts with the league's most awesome array of talent. Prior to the Bengal encounter, superstar Lynn Swann had been conspicuous by his lack of production. Now it seems Swann has overcome his season-long battle with nagging injuries and is ready to rejoin John Stallworth in the spotlight as Pittsburgh's Super Bowl drive begins in earnest. Swann was the difference in Pittsburgh's 37-17 victory over the Bengals. And his return to form was one of two things Steeler fans desperately wanted last Sunday. The other was a little breathing room in the AFC Central Division, and that, too, they received. For up in snowy Cleveland, the Houston Oilers fell victim to Brian Sipes' flicks through the flakes. Sipe and the Browns navigated through the winter wonderland for 2 touchdowns, both of which were scored by underrated fullback Mike Pruitt, number 43. Pruitt also recorded 111 yards rushing, becoming the 4th player in Cleveland history to rush for 1,000 yards in a season. There's never a dull moment when the Browns are involved. Their '79 season has been a stunning series of last-second wins and heart-stopping near misses. Last week brought all the customary agonies, but it also had a happy ending. With the score tied at 7, Brian Sipe disappeared behind his protective wall, only to emerge for the game's most important yardage. Sipe failed to score, but his disappointment was only temporary. For moments later, Pruitt covered the remaining yard as Cleveland won another nail-biter 14-7. The win kept Sam Rutigliano and his exciting Browns alive in the seemingly endless chase for the AFC Central Division title. A loss would have KO'd the Browns. The Cleveland Victory also dropped Bum Phillips and the Houston Oilers into second place, one game behind the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Browns, Oilers, and Steelers are three of pro football's best teams. Unfortunately, they're all in the same division. The shame of it is one of them probably won't make the playoffs. The Los Angeles Coliseum welcomed the Minnesota Vikings and head coach Bud Grant. Uncomfortable in his role as an also-ran, he sought to gain respectability against the Rams. Viking quarterback Tommy Kramer directed Minnesota's pass-oriented offense and hit number 28, Ahmad Rashad. The capacity to make the big mistake continued to plague Minnesota. A blocked punt recovered and returned for a touchdown by number 51 Joe Harris accounted for 6 of Los Angeles' 21 points, matching Minnesota's total at the end of regulation. In overtime, the Rams elected to skip the field goal and avoid a Minnesota rush that has blocked 13 kicks this season. Nolan Cromwell's touchdown waltz won it 27-21 and put the Rams in first place in their division, one game up on the fading New Orleans Saints. The Seattle Seahawks, highly touted for the playoffs following a promising preseason, are merely looking to break even. Quarterback Jim Zorn hardly expected the Kansas City Chiefs to put 6 Seattle starters out of the game with injuries and was fortunate not to be a casualty himself. The frustration of 2 second-rate teams was evident on both sides as the Chiefs and Seahawks struggled to play out the year. The Chiefs' Steve Fuller, number 4, further established himself as one of the best rookie quarterbacks in pro football. He took a page from Jim Zorn's playbook and showed that he, too, felt at home running the football, to a point. Taking advantage of 5 Seattle turnovers, the Chiefs led by as much as 30 points in the fourth quarter. Fuller's 28-yard touchdown pass to number 86 J.T. Smith was instrumental in a 37-21 Kansas City win. But at 6-8, the Chiefs remain at the bottom of the AFC West. The Baltimore Colts, winners of but 4 games this season, made it easy for the Jets in New York. Missed opportunities by the Colt defense and a Reese McCall fumble turned an otherwise close contest into a Jet runaway. While the Jets managed 3 fumbles of their own, all were recovered, including this Scott Dirking misplay. New York quarterback Richard Todd, number 14, recovered from 3 straight subpar games and complemented a 215-yard passing day with 35 yards rushing and a touchdown. Yet the 30-17 Jet victory did little more than keep the Jets out of last place in the AFC East. The Cardinals and the 49ers have combined for a total of just 4 wins in 1979. Again, frequent mistakes have prevented them from improving. Simple things like getting in each other's way. '49er coach Bill Walsh is rebuilding his team around a passing offense that is second in the NFC. But dropped passes in crucial situations marred a day when San Francisco outgained the Cardinals in total offense. A motion penalty negated a Steve DeBerg to Paul Hofer touchdown pass that could have given the 49ers the win. Cardinal running back O.J. Anderson continued to impress and became the first rookie in NFL history to record 8 100-yard days in a single season. His running mate, number 24, Wayne Morris, scored from 13 yards out, one of 2 second-half touchdowns that earned the Cards a 13-10 win. Wins are tough to come by for the young 49ers. The search goes on. The Washington Redskins are one of 3 NFC Eastern teams yearning to flag down a playoff spot in the midst of knifing December wins. But a pair of Green Bay's second stringers sought to subvert Washington's playoff hopes. A 48-yard strike from reserve Packer quarterback Lynn Dickey to backup wide receiver Walter Tullis swept Green Bay to a commanding 21-7 halftime lead as they threatened to blow the Redskins off their own frigid turf. The final 30 minutes, however, saw quarterback Joe Theismann rally Washington to 31 unanswered points. Number 44, John Riggins, received Theismann's 4th touchdown pass of the day and 3rd in the second half alone, while John McDaniel, number 80, refused to be denied end zone entry. In a must-win situation, the Redskins overcame Green Bay 38-21, taking one more giant step toward securing one of the 5 coveted NFC playoff berths, remaining a game behind the division-leading Eagles. Dallas's Texas Stadium is the home of a second NFC Eastern playoff contender and Beauty and the Beast. The beauties are quite evident. The Beast, the Cowboys' doomsday defense. Prior to their showdown with New York, Dallas had lost 4 of their last 5. So like the baseball player who throws his bat after striking out, the struggling Cowboys used giant quarterback Phil Simms to vent their frustration. Conversely, Cowboy quarterback Roger Staubach, the NFL's leading passer, found the going smooth and easy. Despite some rather foolish and dangerous showboating after the fact, number 88 Drew Pearson returned to grab his 3rd touchdown pass of the contest. Pearson's individual greatness aided Dallas in defeating the Giants for the 11th straight time and put him over the 1,000-yard mark in reception yardage this season. Perhaps Dallas's convincing 28-7 drubbing of New York is a statement. That statement being, we're mad as hell and we won't take it anymore. The team that both the Cowboys and Redskins are chasing are the Philadelphia Eagles, a remarkably well-balanced team led by inspirational head coach Dick Vermeil.
There we go, D. All right, man. You played your best before. Add just a little bit to it, man. Add just a little bit of Eagle fever to it. Let's get it going.
Here we go, man. Here we go. Here we go.
Eagle fever, as Vermeil aptly put it, heated up the vet like never before as the Birds blew out the faltering Lions. A pair of Harold Carmichael touchdown catches, another 100-yard day by Wilbert Montgomery, and a 92-yard kickoff return by reserve back Billy Campfield added up to a disastrous day for Detroit. All told, Philadelphia fans witnessed the most lopsided Eagle triumph since 1967, when Philadelphia tallied 48 points in crushing New Orleans. It was an afternoon of gleefully watching Veterans Stadium scoreboard and wondering just when the awesome Eagle onslaught would finally come to an end. Indeed, Dick Vermeil's Eagles are in the playoffs, and on top of it all, Philadelphia finds itself at 10-4, all alone at the top of the entire National Football Conference.